correctly assume that her clients are also anticipating her to come back to them speedily. Now, that informs us that those instructions could be conveyed to all and sundry in the next coming hour, and that's our position.
Advocate Solomon.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioner Musi. Our position is, I think the preliminary ruling that the Commission made in regard to affording Mr. Holden and Mr. Feinstein and their legal representatives an opportunity until Monday was eminently fair and reasonable, having regard to the fact that this will inevitably result in a delay in the continuation of the proceedings. It would be unacceptable to attempt to try and interpose other witnesses whilst Mr. Vermeulen is potentially still in the witness box, as it were, and going to be subjected to cross-examination. Mr. Vermeulen, as you may or may not know, Chair, is from Simonstown. He's been for some considerable period of time away from his home, his other work in Simonstown. He's been of extreme assistance to this Commission. He spent many, many hours with my learned and good friend Mr. Labala in preparing for this matter. It sounds to me that really the request to indefinitely reserve one's right to recall Mr. Vermeulen is simply to meet the convenience of Mr. Holden and Mr. Feinstein, who we are now told reside outside of South Africa. And with respect, that this Commission has an enormous amount of work to do. It's proceeding manfully under quite trying circumstances with mountains of documentation, many, many witnesses to get through, and we can't allow this process to be halted when we are just starting to get a bit of traction and momentum. And it's particularly unfair to leave Mr. Vermeulen in limbo. So I think if I don't object to a stand down for an hour or so, but if the legal representative comes back and simply informs the Commission that they're unable to continue on Monday, I think that's just unacceptable. They have legal representation here. They presumably have instructed their legal representatives as to areas that are of concern to them. She's already placed on record that prima facie there are aspects of Mr. Vermeulen's evidence that they want to cross-examine on, so they know what it is. They know what the issues are. And I believe any delay beyond Monday would be just unreasonable, and it won't really enhance the work that the Commission is tasked to do. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I've just forgotten your name, your advocate.
Chair, my name is Ms. Kane, and I represent the Department of Defence. Thank you very much for your invitation to me to make my submissions. We support Mr. Solomon's stance, and particularly think that any indefinite reservation of rights to cross-examine would be unfair to the particular witness and the Commission, unless there were exceptional circumstances to justify the recalling of a witness. So we would submit that only in very exceptional circumstances should the Commission entertain a position where witnesses who have given their evidence are recalled at a later stage. And so we would very much support the Chair's recommendation or preliminary ruling that Mr. Feinstein and Mr. Holden be given an opportunity until Monday, and that their cross-examination be conducted on that day.
Maybe let me find out from the legal representative of Mr. Holden. Are they in the country only, I think if I recall from your letters, you're representing 3 people?
Yes, Chair, that's correct.
Are your 3 clients in the country at the moment?
Mr. Holden is in the country until, I believe, Tuesday morning. Mr. Van Veeren is in the country. Mr. Feinstein is in the United Kingdom.
So at least 2 of your clients are in the country at the moment.
Yes, that's correct.
And I suppose it will not be difficult for you to take instructions from them because they're in the country. And did they attend any of the hearings at the time when Mr. Vermeulen was testifying?
Yes, Chairperson, 2 of them have been present this week, and it would not be a problem at all to get instructions from them within the next hour.
And your clients were also present?
Yes, 2 of them were present part of this week.
Good. So it will not be difficult for you to get instructions?
No, I will certainly be able to get instructions within the next hour.
I'm saying as far as the cross-examination is concerned, it will not be difficult for you to get instructions because they are in the country.
Chairperson, that does depend on how quickly we receive the documents that we have requested, as we all need to consider them. It should be possible, but I need to speak to them to clarify this, as well as to my senior in this matter.
If at all the documents are made available to you within an hour from now, can I confidently say that you will start with your cross-examination on Monday?
Chairperson, I'm afraid I cannot confirm that to you in this instant. I have to receive an instruction on that very point. But I can undertake that every effort would be made to do so.
Let me understand, on which point are you going to, do you want to take instructions?
On the availability of my clients and of my leader for us to proceed with cross-examination on Monday morning.
Ma'am, I can tell you up front that is not going to be acceptable to me. I'm not going to let Mr. Vermeulen in limbo, waiting to be cross-examined on a day unknown to him, nor to the Commission. It's either your clients are going to cross-examine as from Monday, or I'm going to release Mr. Vermeulen. And the day that your clients have decided that they are now available, they want to cross-examine, they'll have to make a substantial application. What I'm going to do now, I think we're going to adjourn for about 30 minutes, and I hope that you'll come back to me with a firm answer. At the same time, I need to be fair to everybody, including Mr. Vermeulen, who you have heard that has spent several days in order to be in a position to come and testify before the Commission. It's not only the interest of the clients that needs to be taken into account. There are other interests that we as a Commission need to take into account. We'll adjourn for 30 minutes, and I hope that after 30 minutes, when you come back, you will be in a position, you would have received firm instructions. Thank you. We'll adjourn for 30 minutes.
All rise.
I'm not my headphones today. Oh, come on now. Ashalas is coming. Ashalas is coming. I'm not going to finish the black. Young Shasha. Hello? You on? Hello? All right, sharp. All right. Okay. Yeah, no, it will light up. It's just saving a bit of, but we'll light up shortly. No, we were set up already. We're just waiting to light up. Sure. Okay, sure. Today. It's gonna happen today. Bazongibona today futhi. Izwenzeka today. Plus bangithole nge-fresh. Ngibhodlile. Paul Holden. Sorry.
Oh, kwanje nami ngisebenzisa extend.
Oh, ku-extend.
Phela lo muntu
Oh.
bebiza le. Usedini manje kumele usebenzise extend.
Yeah. Izoom iyaphelela amandla wa press extend.
Extend you lose its quality light.
Yeah, because it's like you're pushing your eye. You're zooming in, extreme zoom. Yeah. Lento yo ngihlulayo. Ngicela ungisize ukufaka lento, mayazi yangihlula, ngomila ngithi. Ngistave. Angikho loss. Angisebenzisa just one side. Lelinye side no ngapha. Lelinye side ngiyalhide lapha. Yeah.
Stand up long shot.
So long shot. Yeah. Why? It's now umuntu.
So you connected?
The phone thing. Yo. Ujima uzongifayara. Feinstein. Oh, Jesus. Wow. Hello? Hi. Yeah, can you see and hear us? All right, but you can hear me, Mus. I'm on radio mic. Yeah, I'm ready. John Jija reporting live from Semimark Square. They're coming to us. Yes, there's been dramatic developments in the last 30 minutes or so. What happened is that Advocate Gina Snyman, who's representing those three arms deal critics, Paul Holden, Andrew Feinstein, as well as Henny van Vieren, she made an urgent application to reserve her client's right to be able to recall and cross-examine witness Rob Vermeulen. So as we speak to you right now, the Commission has taken an urgent adjournment while they resolve how to proceed from here. But what the judge has emphasized is that he's not going to allow a situation where Mr. Rob Vermeulen is being left in limbo. He said that he's been attending the proceedings for the past few weeks, and then he lives in Simonstown. If they want to cross-examine the witness, it has to happen today or at the latest on Monday. You will know that Andrew Feinstein is at the moment residing in the UK. So as I speak to you right now, his lawyers are busy trying to get in touch with him to see how they are going to facilitate that process going forward. Yeah, what is happening actually, that evidence was wrapped up yesterday. We know that Rob Vermeulen has been on the hot seat or on the stand for in the past few days. He wrapped up his evidence yesterday, and the evidence leader wanted to know why a German company was the preferred bidder over the others, especially if you look at the scoring. The Germans performed very badly, and the evidence leader wanted to know if there was any influence from higher up in cabinet. You'll recall that in terms of standard operating procedure, in the past it used to be AMSCO that used to make those type of decisions in terms of appointing the preferred bidder. But with the advent of the strategic defense procurement packages or the arms deal of 1999, as it is known, that role has been taken over by cabinet. So he wrapped up his evidence, and what has been happening since this morning, it was the process of re-examining him, and then it also emerged that those three arms deal critics want to cross-examine him. You'll know that two of them have since written two books, the first book being The Devil in the Detail, and the second book, The Arms Deal in Your Pocket. And in those books, they are also saying that there were too many irregularities in the awarding of those contracts that we know by now is costing the country about 70 billion rand. We are still going to have a few other officials from AMSCO appearing, but I think the most interesting part will be the second phase, when we have those people that have been implicated and the so-called whistleblowers coming through to testify. Here we are talking about people like Patricia de Lille, we have your Paul Holden, Henny van Vieren, Andrew Feinstein as well. As I said earlier, those people, as they come through to come and give their evidence, because these are the people that have gone as far as compiling dossiers as well as making those allegations. A few years ago, as early as 1998, early 2000, there was an investigation as well that was carried out also in the UK, and that information was given to the South Africans. You'll recall the involvement of the Scorpions, they investigated, as well as the joint team report that also investigated. So those witnesses, as they come through to testify, it's expected to really heat up. And then a few days ago, we were reporting about Chippy Sheikh, to say, is he going to be subpoenaed to come and testify? Everyone has been, most of the witnesses actually have been mentioning his name, and some of the arms deal critics saying that he's been central to the whole arms deal process. The Commission has not as yet confirmed if he'll be coming through to testify, but a consultative process between him and the Commission is underway. It actually started more than a week ago. Thanks. Oh.
All rise.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have taken instructions from my client, and at the outset, I just wish to make 2 submissions. One being that on the issue of the exception for our clients to receive these documents and statements, we appreciate the exception. And I gather that the point of distinction is made on statement versus submissions. Our clients were of the view that because they had already made submissions to this commission, that they were entitled to receive witness documents and statements. But I take the point that the distinction is on statement. As far as the statements are concerned, I just wish to record that our clients had all in fact made arrangements to be at the commission this week in order to meet with the evidence leaders to make statements. But subsequent to making these arrangements, directives were given that they can only meet with the evidence leaders after the conclusion of Phase 1, which has effectively precluded them from making their formal statements to the Commission at this stage. And so, with this in mind, we do appreciate your exception that as they have made submissions, they will be entitled to certain documents and witness statements on request. As to the other point that has been raised by my learned friend, Advocate Solomon, SC, and by Ms. Kane, that reserving the rights to cross-examine would lead to inordinate delays of the Commission. I respectfully submit that were our clients to be entitled to documents in advance of witnesses giving their testimony, we would be better placed in advance to know which witnesses it will be necessary to cross-examine and be prepared and able to proceed to do that at the close of their testimony. As regards to our clients cross-examining from Monday morning, my instructions are that now that we have just received Mr. Vermeulen's statement and documents, we will make these immediately available to our clients, and we will consider them. And once our clients have had an opportunity to consider them, they will make a final decision on whether or not they deem it necessary to cross-examine this witness, and that in due course then, and if necessary, they will make a formal application to do so, but that we are not in a position to proceed on Monday morning.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't quite follow you. You say, what about Monday morning?
Chairperson, we will not be in a position to proceed with cross-examination on Monday morning. The first step will be to consider whether or not it is necessary to cross-examine this witness. And once we are in a position to do so, having considered these documents as quickly as we're able to do, we will then make a formal application, if necessary, to cross-examine.
Thank you. I think on that first point, as I said earlier on, we're going to adjourn today and we'll resume on Monday morning. Your clients are going to be given an opportunity of going through those documents and make a decision whether they are going to cross-examine or not. If they are going to cross-examine, I would expect them to start with the cross-examination on Monday morning. I think it will be unfair to everybody, to both legal teams, evidence leaders, and Mr. Vermeulen, if we do not finalize the cross-examination and re-examination of Mr. Vermeulen next week. Your clients are being given an opportunity now, seeing that they have the documents relating to the evidence of Mr. Vermeulen in their possession. Final decision is to be made by your clients on Monday morning, whether they cross-examine or they do not cross-examine. to, maybe let me just find out from the evidence leaders who is going to be the next witness after Mr. Vermeulen.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Musi. The next witness is Mr. Beryl Smith, who will be testifying to the acquisition process of the product, the coverts. You heard about the acquisition process of the product, the submarine. The summary has been posted on the website. Chairperson Commissioner Musi.
And then after him?
It will be the last witness, Mr. Fritz Norke, also testifying on the acquisition process of the corvettes stroke frigates.
Do we have the statements and documents that those witnesses are going to use when they testify?
Certainly, Chair. Certainly, they are. We've posted all the summaries of the witnesses. They're on the website.
No, besides the summaries, I mean the actual statements and the documentation that they're going to use when they lead their evidence.
Yes, Chair. Adequately prepared statements by the legal representatives of AMSCO. We have them. Our response was yes, and we added in parentheses that even the summaries have been posted on the website.
Thank you. And maybe let me go to the legal representative of Mr. Feinstein and Mr. Holden. I suppose the two witnesses, Mr. Smith and Mr. Norkier, because they are going to deal with processes too, will one be correct to suspect that or to assume that your clients might have an interest in the evidence of those two witnesses?
Yes, Chairperson, our clients are interested in these two witnesses. We have made a formal request yesterday to the Commission for access in advance to their statements and documents so that we are prepared for when they start testimony. And if I can just formally repeat that request here, I gather from their summaries that they will be making, they will be giving evidence on the same issues that our clients will be testifying on later on, and they have an interest in these statements.
Good. Can I perhaps request that the statements and documents that those two witnesses are going to be used when they testify, that they should be made available to the legal representative of Mr. Paul Holden?
Chair, from our side.
Annexures. Are annexures also on the website, or is it only the statements which are on the website?
Only the summaries are on the website. I'm not certain whether the statements have been posted on the website yet.
Then just to make sure that, we avoid possible delays, can the statement, together with the annexures, be made available to the legal representative of Mr. Paul Holden and Company?
Certainly, Chair. Permit us to say the following against what Ms. Neyman says. Chair, the right to cross-examine is a procedural right that is being exercised by the legal representative. Now, Ms. Neyman's role is only to seek instructions to confirm that right, but she drives the process. For her to say she will only cross-examine subject to consulting with a client makes one to raise eyebrows, and she's tiptoeing around the real challenge we are facing. Now, the delays concern us given the challenges that this commission is facing. Of significance is she could today decide whether she's going to cross-examine or not. That's a decision. Whether her clients are going to give her instructions, it's another thing. She could say, I will be ready, because she's the one who cross-examined, not her clients. Now, the second phase is for her to go and consult with her clients. Preparations for 3 days, it's a question of relativism. 3 days might be long, a day might be long, half a day might be long. In our vocab, 3 days is adequate starting today. Now, she's got to be ready. She's got to decide whether she's going to cross-examine or not. She could come back on Monday and say, I had challenges, I'm ready. my clients are of the view that there are constraints. But she's got to say it as a legal representative. In exercising that procedural right, that I am going to cross-examine, I'll be ready on Monday. Now, it will assist us also with our preparations. We have clients, we have witnesses who are restless. And on this one, I think Mr. Solomon SC would better address you. We are sensing that this witness has got challenges, he's restless, he can't be here forever. And when you consult with them, they educate us. I mean, look at the positions they occupy, the responsibilities they get engaged in. I can imagine Mr. Vermeulen has got other projects she's got to go and fulfill. As she's standing here, there are delays which are compelling, and those delays are delays of national interest. Now, we're inclined to say, I think Ms. Neyman should be put on the spot to positively address whether she's going to consult or not. What remains thereafter, it's after she's consulted with headlines. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, well, I understand what you're saying. But then I think I've already made a ruling. Well, I'm going to give them an opportunity until Monday morning to prepare, and if they do want to cross-examine, and start a cross-examination on Monday. You are right, we cannot expect Mr. Vermeulen to be here indefinitely. I think that issue has been sorted out. Now, the second issue is a question of the documentation relating to the two witnesses that we have referred to. I'll ask the office to make available the statements of those witnesses to the legal representative of Mr. Paul Holden, together with the annexures that those witnesses might use. But before I can give that instructions to the staff of the office, can I get an undertaking from the legal representative, Mr. Paul Holden, that those documents that we are going to make available to you, particularly of the two witnesses who have not testified as yet, that they will be used for no other purpose except to prepare for a possible cross-examination? Can I get that undertaken from you?
Chairperson, I don't wish to nitpick, but can I just seek clarity on whether that would exclude those documents also being used by our witnesses in giving their own evidence?
Can you repeat the question? I missed the question.
Chairperson, I'm being requested to make an undertaking that our clients won't use these documents for any other purpose than for cross-examination of the witnesses. And my point of clarity, though I appreciate it's a very narrow one, is whether this would bar them from relying on those same witness statements and documents in their own evidence, as opposed just to cross-examination of these witnesses.
Let me correct myself. They'll be allowed to use those documents only for the purpose of preparing for cross-examination and preparing their evidence which they might want to put before the Commission. Is that clear or no?
Yes, Chairperson, thank you. That is clear. I can make that undertaking at this stage once I receive the documents, and I will convey this to my clients. Should they not agree to that undertaking, I undertake to keep the documents in my own presence and not hand them over until we've clarified this point.
Thank you. Any other issue that Advocate Lebana, Advocate Solomon of Kent that we want to raise before we adjourn?
No, Chair.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I think we are going to adjourn. Mr. Vermeulen, I apologize that we are unable to finalize your cross-examination today. I'm sure you have been following the discussions. You appreciate the difficulties in which the Commission finds itself at this point in time.
Yes, I understand, Chair.
So, unfortunately, I'll have to ask you to come back again on Monday And hopefully, if there's any cross-examination, that we will be in a position to proceed with that as from Monday morning.
Very well, Chair.
Thank you. We'll adjourn until Monday.